What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. So we got an update here on the Karmelo Anthony situation. If we remember this young man, he was the African American man, the young man that stabbed Austin Metcalf, which is the Caucasian young man, in a rally in Texas and things like that a little while back here. And it was all types of controversy, stuff like that. They made GoFundMe's for for Karmelo, things like that. It was a lot going on, crazy scenario, things like that, and a lot of people were taking sides. Some people felt like Karmelo Anthony was justified. Some people felt like he wasn't justified. But we're gonna go here now. We're gonna see the update. And also, we're going to chime in with Anton Daniels to help complete this update at the same time, too. So let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
The other big story here at 10 takes us to Frisco, where a teen now faces a first-degree murder charge for the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf. Karmelo Anthony is now waiting on a court appearance before a judge, but we're not expecting a trial anytime before next year. Our Marvin Hurst has more on the indictment tonight and the call for calm as the wheels of justice start to turn.
83 days. That's how long it took Collin County prosecutors to establish a case of first-degree murder against Karmelo Anthony.
Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
In a statement, Metcalf's father says, "I am pleased that we are moving forward. With the first-degree murder indictment, it now goes into the court system. I fully believe that justice will be served for Austin Metcalf. I look forward to the forthcoming trial."
Okay, so this is where we at right here. At first, if we would all remember, because we need to have long memories out here. Austin Metcalf's father, at first, he also showed up to the mother's statement and things like that. Well, the mother and father, when they had their statement and stuff like that, he showed up there and he was trying to, he was trying to be very peaceful. And the lawyers of Karmelo Anthony's, the lawyer of Karmelo Anthony, made a spectacle of the situation in my eyes. When the father just showed up there to hear the family speak and stuff like that, it seemed like he came in peace and stuff like that. The footage is there. And yeah, man, it seemed like they were trying to make a spectacle. The lawyer was like, "How dare you show up here?" and things like that. I mean, the lawyer was trying so hard to make it seem like Austin Metcalf's father was such a villain. So that shit was crazy to me. That was crazy. The lawyer of Karmelo Anthony was like, "How dare you show up here? This family's dealing with tragedy and stuff like that." I mean, what are you talking about, dude? You know what I'm saying? You're defending a young man that stabbed another young man that didn't even have a weapon. He didn't have a weapon.
But it will never bring my son back. April 2nd, an early morning track meet in Frisco ISD led to a confrontation between two 17-year-olds under a tent, Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony. Metcalf was stabbed in the chest and died, police said. Anthony was arrested on a charge of murder. He was held on a $1 million bond for 12 days until a bond reduction hearing. Anthony was placed on house arrest, where the teen suspect currently remains, now under indictment. A copy of the charge is expected to be released by Thursday.
Of course, Karmelo looks forward to his day in court. It's only in a trial that a jury will hear the full story, one that includes critical facts and context that the grand jury simply didn't get to hear.
The case has provoked words and emotions rooted in the nastiness of race.
It's been a very contentious case. It's been a very racially motivated case. It was one of the reasons why NGAN got involved with the case, because of all of the social media, all of the narratives that were going around the case, the opinions before people even knew what was going on.
Prosecutors call it murder. The defense says it's a case of self-defense. However, until the matter goes to trial, There is a call for people on the sideline to let justice lead, not emotion.
We understand that this case has sparked strong reactions. Please remember that there are real human beings, kids, on both sides of this case.
But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves.
All right, so this is where we at right here. We're about to go to Anton Daniels here and see what he had to say about the situation, because at the end of the day, though, I want to see, Anton Daniels' insight on the topic at hand here, because this is crazy. Saying he did his report on it when it hit the fan. I did mine's, things like that. This is a whole crazy scenario because it's wild out here. And like I said, people were taking sides. It still is what it is. And yeah, let's go here now. Let's see what's going down.
Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. But when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know that this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond. And that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves. We're also mindful of Austin's family and everyone who loved him. Please keep them in your thoughts, and if you're willing, your prayers as well. Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
Today's indictment of Karmelo Anthony is an expected and routine step in the legal process. An indictment is a procedural step that happens in virtually every felony criminal case. It's a document that lays out for both the prosecution and the defense what the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court. An indictment simply means that a grand jury, after hearing only the prosecution's side of the story, determined that there was enough evidence to allow the case to move forward to court. That's all an indictment means. Karmelo and his family are confident in the justice system and the people of Collin County to be fair and impartial.
I'm going to just tell you, bro, it looked like he got an uphill battle on his hands, and I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. And so I hope that over $500,000, they're going to need every single dime, every single penny in order to try to defend this dude, because I don't see a way out of it. Now, when this first hit, obviously it turned into a whole racial debate, which I personally am not leaning into the race aspect of it. I see an individual that, and this is my personal thoughts, I've seen an individual that intentionally carried a knife and pulled out a knife and took somebody else's life. And then they tried to feign it as though he was defending himself, when in reality, he should have never had a knife there in the first place. And then it turned into murder. So
now, hey, listen, look. It's nothing but facts being spoken right now. That's the reason why I wanted to, engage with what Anton had to say on his aspect too, because this has to be reinforced. This thought process has to be reinforced. These kids were at a school event, a track meet. This was a school event. We know it's illegal to carry any type of weapons around a school or school event, around any school children or anything like that, unless you're an authorized security guard or officer of the law. It's nowhere around these facts. So this young man had a weapon on him in his backpack that he brought from the house, logically brought from the house. You know what I'm saying? This is not something that just magically appeared in his bag. I mean, this is just the truth here. And, and then like Anton and everybody else said, it got racial. And that's the whole issue here. It got racial. Why? And the facts of the matter is that one person had a weapon, the other person didn't. And that's nowhere a fair fight. I don't care what you talk about. If you want to go fist to fist, that's different. If you want to go weapon to weapon, okay then. But you can't go, a weapon to fist. It's not a fair fight. I don't care who likes it or not.
Oh, now they're basically indicting him on first-degree murder, and they charging him, and he's facing life in prison, and that's unfortunate because he's probably basically threw his life away. Even if he was to ever get off, to be honest with you, he would 100% basically have thrown his life away. But the fact that he is still facing a first-degree murder charge and they're actually going after him with that. And I know that the family had basically said that they were leveraging the money from the Go Send Go or whatever it is that they got the money from, GoFundMe, however you want to frame it, that they were going to leverage that money in order to find a new house so that they can now be protected. And I'm assuming that people are still donating. I'm assuming, or maybe not so much so, because it's not as popular to talk about right now. But now that they've basically revived the case, because obviously you had a whole lot of other news that hit the cycle that then allowed for us to be able to get distracted, they are now reviving this whole conversation around what it is that he did and whether or not he should be held accountable. And basically they charging him as an adult. Mm-hmm. So according to the first degree felony murder charges, if he is convicted, it is a strong possibility he will either spend anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison. And that, my friends, is the bingo card that you get when you then make a split-second emotional decision and you don't lean into your logic, but your emotions take over. And next thing you know, you're sitting there waiting to be charged for first-degree murder, and the grand jury is now indicted him. And so I just don't think there's anything good that comes out of this, honestly. You got one side where, a young man basically lost his life. You got another side where the young man is now facing the possibility of life in prison, and nobody is feeling any sympathy for anybody because a life was lost, and it absolutely, positively could have been avoided. Let's continue.
Of course, Karmelo looks forward to his day in court. It's only in a trial that a jury will hear the full story, one that includes critical facts and context that the grand jury simply didn't get to hear.
I wonder why they didn't hire a black attorney. Remember when everything was all blackety black, when they had removed the father from the press conference?
I remember that too. And at the same time, too, I thought they did have a black attorney. Now, you know what I'm saying? If y'all remember the footage of when the mother and the father was, speaking their piece, and Austin Metcalf father showed up, I thought that was their attorney that was speaking for them at first. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but say if y'all remember that footage, when the mother had made a statement, and Austin Metcalf's father showed up to that press conference and stuff like that, and they kicked him out. That was a huge thing. If y'all remember that, y'all got to have long memories out here. I'm telling you now, I thought that lawyer, I thought that was their lawyer. It was a black guy.
It's only in a trial that both sides get to present evidence and cross-examine each other's witnesses. This is why our justice system is based on the principle of a full and fair trial. Mm-hmm. That's because it's only in a trial that the full story can be heard and that impartial justice can be done. We expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Karmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense. Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. when self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense.
Now, I heard that they actually had surveillance footage that actually shows what happened, and it was damning, which is one of the reasons why he's now facing a first-degree murder charge. Initially, we thought that he was going to face a capital murder charge, but he's facing a first-degree murder charge. And so they're saying, and I didn't hear it, so I never reported on it because I want to make sure that the platform is operating out of integrity. I didn't actually see any footage. I searched and I searched and I searched. And I don't know where everybody else got all of this grandstanding as far as footage is concerned, but I searched feverishly and I couldn't find any footage that could substantiate that they had released it to the general public. All right. I even searched on some of the back end sites. I'm not proud of where I went to go search for that footage, but I tried to go and get it so that I can get some context to add it to this conversation back when they was reporting it, when all of the YouTubers jumped on it. I refrained from it because I wanted to hear the full context and see the video for myself. I never seen it. I never seen anybody actually review the video live. So
this is the first I'm hearing of also as well about their having actual, footage of the incident, live while it was going down up under the tent. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, wow.
So it was difficult for me to be able to substantiate. I don't know where everybody else getting the information, but that is allegedly why they are charging him with first-degree murder.
The law does not expect or require the citizen accused to prove that they acted in self-defense. It's actually the opposite. The law requires the prosecution to rule out the reasonable doubt that the citizen accused may have acted in self-defense. We understand that this case has sparked strong reactions. Please remember that there are real human beings, kids, on both sides of this case. We ask that everyone do as the law requires and withhold judgment until all the evidence can be heard in court.
That's what we're trying to do, but it's hard to when everything is so sensationalized and basically you getting convicted in the court of public opinion. I think that this is an uphill battle. I think that he is in trouble. I don't know what's right or wrong until we actually get to see the footage. We know what the police reports is talking about. We know what it is that they presented to us in the press conference. We know how his father felt and what he said. But the one thing that we haven't all seen personally, unless somebody got some access that I'm not familiar with, is we have not actually seen the footage as presented. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to keep my ears peeled and be on top of things. Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description.
Shout out to Anton. No,
What the French toast is there to think about?
Shout out to Anton, though. So, and at the end of the day, though, yeah, go to Anton Daniels' channel. You know what I'm saying? Shit, subscribe. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Full of knowledge. It is what it is, though. But this is where we at right here. I definitely agree with this situation. This is crazy right here. I didn't know anything about that. They had they may have actual footage of the tango that was going on up under the tent when the actual alleged stabbing happened. This is new to me as well, but at the same time though too, to move on a first degree murder charge, that is very serious. When at first it was facing capital, but man, to up it a notch, that's serious. So obviously the prosecution feels like they have enough substantial evidence to bump it up to first degree. And this is where they're at here. So this is where we're going here. Obviously, this young man, be honest with you, in my opinion, I don't know what everybody else feels and things like that, but you cannot go to a school or a school function or anything like that and have a weapon. I've never seen that happen before. I've never seen that be allowed, and then you want to scream self-defense and stuff like that. But I mean, Jesus Christ, you the only one with the weapon in the whole vicinity. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.